Alright, Alright, I'm retesting it. I'm having some audio issues, so I'm just troubleshooting it. Oh. Alright, I'm retesting it. I'm having some audio issues. Alright, so it looks like I resolved those audio issues. Alright. So, we're gonna continue, GitHub. So, before this, we kind of looked at how GitHub works and things like that. We kind of went through this tutorial. And now we're going to getting kind of the next one, which is setting up Git. So let's just read this. Set up Git. Authority GitHub is an open source version of open source version control system. So kind of explain that the kind of the essay analogy where you might have multiple students assigned to one essay, and then there's all kinds of different versions, and you gotta figure out how to use the right version, and what the right version is going to be. Version control system makes it so that you can access all edits, all versions of your code, and revisit it at any time. It's called Git. Git is responsible for everything GitHub related that happens locally on your computer. Using Git. To use Git on the command line, I will need to download, install, and configure Git on the computer. You can also install Github CLI to use Github from the command line. For more information, if you want to work with Git locally but do not want to use a command line, you can instead download and install a Github desktop client. For more information, see installing and configuring Github desktop. If you do not need to work with files locally, GitHub lets you complete many Git-related actions directly in your browser. So that's true, but we're going to just download it. We're not going to do it that way. But we're just going to download the Windows version of Git. So now it's installing Git. I'm gonna try to add a window so that it's visible. Setup is finished. Git on your computer. The application may be launched by selecting the install shortcuts. Alright, so let's see. So I'm gonna try to. Okay, so I'm gonna make another capture. Hold on. Alright, so we have this thing going on. This is like a terminal. Um, so using the wingnet tool, so I think this is the wingnet tool. It's saying, if you don't already have it, then type in this command in command prompt or PowerShell. So I'm actually gonna, we'll see if we have it. Oh, I'll just type it in. It didn't copy. Install id git e source wing it. So what does it say? Windows Package Manager. The argument cannot be recognized. Installs the selected package. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm just gonna continue on. Say your username in Git. Open Git Bash. Set a Git username. Alright. Oh, okay, you don't have to run that command, okay. Just gonna type this in, though, we're gonna set the Git username config global user dot name. Oh, actually, hold on. That's not what I think I was supposed to. I think I was supposed to put user. I'm not sure if it was supposed to be username. The username in there somewhere. It looks like you already have Git installed. The terminal window is Git Bash. Yeah, so I'm trying to create the username. However, they're instructing me to do it. I think I'm misinterpreting the instructions. Fig, or is arcote the username? Let's try this again. Global coat, we'll say .mvcap, I don't know. Okay, command not found. I'm gonna go on a limb and say that I think the username is already set somehow. Oh, there's two commands. Hold on. I'll say git config. So this will confirm if there is a username set already. Global user dot name. Alright, so it's not saying the username, so I'm going to assume that it did not. So git config global user name. Okay. We'll call it NVCap code. I think that's the right idea. And to confirm it, global user dot name NVCap code. Alright, there we go. So I think we have accomplished that step. Setting your Git username for a single repository. Open Git bash. Change the current working directory to the local repository where you want to configure the name that is associated with your Git commits. So this is going to make it so that we can kind of work on code on a local computer, and then it'll just it'll just immediately send it all up to your GitHub. So git bash, I believe that's this. So it says these two. I don't know. It says these two directions. I'm actually misunderstanding what they're saying. Change the current working directory to the local repository where you want to configure the name, but it doesn't say really how to do that. Does it? Isn't that the same direction? I think I'm just gonna go to the next one. For now. If you're cloning GitHub repositories using HTTPS, recommend using GitHub CLI or Git Credential Manager to remember your credentials. Git CLI. Well, I think it just jumped from one thing to the next. Hold on. Because we started out, we were doing this. Set your username. Alright, set your username. Okay. So that's what happens. So we set the username. Okay, and that's how we got here. Okay. And now we're gonna set the commit email address. Both commit email addresses. GitHub uses your commit email address to associate commits with your account on github.com. You can choose the email address that will be associated with the commits you push from the command line, as well as web-based Git operations you make. For web-based Git operations, you can set your commit email address on github.com. So we've already created a GitHub account. We're going to use the MVCap code one. And just that's the email for the channel. mvcapcode@gmail.com. For commits you push from the command line, you can set your commit email address in Git. Any commits you made prior to changing your commit email address are still associated with your previous email address. Any commits you made prior to changing your... Okay. It says no, you cannot verify email addresses from disposable email address services that allow you to receive email addresses from a temporary address that expires after a certain time. Yeah, so we're using a Gmail, so we shouldn't run into that issue. If you'd like to keep your email address private, you can use GitHub provided no reply email addresses. So I'm not worried about that. If you'd like to keep your personal email address private, you can simply use a no reply email address. To use, well, I'm not really trying to do any of that, so this is kind of without a point here. You can also block commits you push from the command line that expose your personal email address. For more information, yeah, so we're not interested in that. To ensure the commits are attributed to you and appear in your contributions graph, use an email address that is connected to your account on GitHub, or the no reply email address. They're really talking about, I don't know, they're really talking about the no reply email addresses, but we're not doing that. It's gonna be mvcapcode@gmail.com. If you use, alright, so I can safely, hold on, if you use your no reply email address for GitHub to make commits and then change your username, those commits will not be associated with your account on GitHub. Alright, so that just does not apply to us, or this situation. Setting your commit email address. Okay. If you haven't enabled email address privacy, you can choose which verified email address to author changes with when you edit, delete, or create files, or merge a pull request on GitHub. If you enabled email address privacy, then the commit author email address cannot be changed in this username by default. Alright. In the upper right corner of any page, click settings. So I think this is within GitHub. So within GitHub, what does it say? So click settings, and in the access section of the sidebar, click on emails. Alright, so I think it already set that email, mvcapcode@gmail.com, and that's a way to get in touch about anything related to this. Click emails, add email address, to type in your email address, and I click. So we already have one, so that's not really an issue. Verify your email address. I'm pretty sure it's verified. In the primary email address list, select the email address you'd like to associate with your web-based Git operations. Keep your email address private when performing web-based Git operations. Click Keep my email address private. I have no issue with that. So I think as far as Git is concerned, GitHub is concerned, I think it's already verified. I mean, that's my impression. Or remove your public profile email and use when performing web-based operations and sending your email on your behalf. Yeah, I don't really have an issue with that, so okay, so open Git email address. You can use your GitHub provided no reply email address or any email address. Alright, so I think now we're going to actually be doing something. So for this, it's going to be git config. So this will know that it corresponds to this account. User.email invcap code at gmail.com. And confirm that you have set the email address correctly by Git. Alright, so let's check it out. So let's see if invcap code, we've made the invcap code at gmail.com. We'll see if we've made that connection. Git config global user.email.
With possibly the most.
Oh, sorry, sick. And yep, so now Git is connected to GitHub. So now it's connected to my GitHub account. Alright, so add the email address to your account so that your commits are attributed to you and appear in your contributions graph for more information. Alright, so we've already done that. Okay, so now, it's saying setting your email address to a single repository. GitHub uses the email address set in your local Git configuration to associate commits pushed from the command line with your account on GitHub. Yep, we already know that. You can change the email address associated with commits you make in a single repository. You'll override your global Git configuration settings in this one repository. So I guess if you want a certain email for a certain project, you could change your you could have a separate email for that project is I think what they're saying. So that's not something that I'm interested in doing. So I think for that's it. Remembering your GitHub username or username. Yeah, so I think going back. Alright, so we've already set up Git. So we've set the username, and then we've already done this step. So now we're here. So authenticating with GitHub from Git. When you connect your GitHub repository from Git, you'll need to authenticate with GitHub using your either HTTPS or SSH. To be honest, I'm not 100% sure what that is. You can authenticate to GitHub using GitHub CLI for either more information. Connecting over HTTPS recommended. Alright, if you clone with HTTPS, you can cache your GitHub credentials in Git using a credential helper for more information. If you have GitHub all set up, you may now choose to create a repository where you can put your project. Saving your code in a repository allows you to back up your code and share it around the world. Creating a repository in your project allows you to store code in GitHub. This provides a backup of your work that you can choose to share with other developers. More information, so you create a repository. Forking a depository. Yeah, so we kind of already talked about that. That's kind of going on your own path, and then you commit those changes to the project. Each repository on GitHub is owned by a person or an organization. You can interact with the people, repositories, and organizations by connecting and following them on GitHub. GitHub has a great support community where you can ask for help. Alright, so now we're here. I think we already did that. We just didn't have Git set up. Yeah, so we already did this. I think what I was trying to get to was trying to accomplish the same thing you can do on GitHub, but doing it on the desktop version. Yes, we've already set up Git. I think what I'm gonna do is going to kind of do a little more research on that and just kind of end it for today, and then we're gonna go back into web development and try to apply that to you know, the desktop version of Git. I think I'm just gonna end there.